Good morning. I got up this morning and woke up to, I was reading, I normally don't read text messages first thing in the morning, but the last person that I texted last night texted me while I was sleeping with some life-changing text messages, so for them, not for me, but it just kind of got me to thinking about some different things and how we view our life and the things that we really get concerned about, and how we refuse to make moves forward. We're so fearful of risking things, of saying yes to ourselves, actually. But we look at life and we literally, it's like we wake up in the morning and we go, oh my goodness, I'm breathing. This is kind of scary. A lot of bad things could happen because I woke up breathing. So that means that, I could stub my toe. I could get into an accident in the car. I could get into a really nasty fight with my partner and we could break up. I don't know if my job's going to be there in the morning and when I get to work. What if I don't make it to work on time? We literally get scared of all these different things. Now, granted, you may not have those necessary thoughts going through your head in that way or something, but think about the things that are present in your system right now that cause, oh, I got something in my eye, that cause you to kind of have this gripping fear, this maybe a pain in your chest, maybe some anxiety in your gut, something like that just is like, oh, you just can't ever really get away from it because it seems to just be lingering there. And no matter how much you try to push forward, there's still this lingering, nagging feeling. And what is it? What is that feeling? That feeling, outside of the hair in my eye, is the fear of failure. It is the fear of failure that we have, and we look at failure as though it is the opposite of success. So we want to succeed, we want to do these things, that we're also scared to death of succeeding, because if we weren't so scared of succeeding, we wouldn't be so scared of failure. But we look at failure as though it is this horrible, nasty monster, and we just don't want it to come get us. We don't want it to come get us. So I thought it's a good topic for today, especially since I woke up to these text messages all about, some life-changing events, and I know this particular person is scared to death of failing in multiple areas and now is making drastic changes. So I thought, let's bring it back to a couple different things. So that's where the title came from. Babe Ruth and tea bags. And we're not talking about tea bagging. We're talking about actual tea bags. Ah, yes. I thought, as I'm typing, I'm like, somebody's going to have some thought on this. Have the brain that I do. So, Babe Ruth, I'm going to give you a quote from Babe Ruth. Never let the fear of striking out get in your way. Babe Ruth, being the home run king, also got the most strikeouts. That's what made him the home run king. And we know this, right? This is stuff that our kids get told in school, that we've probably told our kids. We hear multiple times You hear about Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan on the basketball court, phenomenal basketball player, and he missed the most baskets. It's because he constantly always tried. Babe Ruth constantly always tried. Both of them willing to fail, willing to strike out. And those strikeouts always led to the home run. They led, I mean, you're not ever going to make the home run if you don't get out there and fail. That's the whole point. You gotta fail, you gotta fail, you gotta fail. Every failure takes you closer to your success. They are not opposites. They are actually working hand in hand with each other. And you have to be willing to fail in order to succeed. You know, sometimes, actually, it's been over the last couple of weeks. I know yesterday I was talking about, like, it's been an interesting front start of the year, and definitely an interesting couple weeks with some of the energies that's going on, the emotions and the way things have coming in. I mean, lots of some negative stuff out there. I'm not going to get into that in here, but one thing that I keep getting hit with, it's just actually really, it's funny to me because it just goes to show me how much I have grown. So I am that person that is super critical, super, does not want to fail, wants everything to be perfect, everything to line up, and like on my work, on videos like this, on writing articles and everything, or just putting stuff out. I used to, about 10 years ago, it would take me forever to put something together or to put something out, because I would write something and then I would go back through it and I would go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and then I would get other people read it, and I would run it through like 3 different grammar and spelling programs, and I would do this and I would do that, and I would make sure that it was just perfect. I would make sure that it was perfect before I put it out. So I wanted to be perfect, but here's the problem. It was like I'd write something and it would take me 2-3 weeks to get it out, and then turning around and writing something else, I would be like, oh God, that's a lot of work. Like, I write this, then I gotta do this, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do this, blah, 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 blah. I'm really just not getting the results back from this sharing that I was hoping that I would get back. I spent a massive amount of time being perfect. And then my daughter, she started doing photography, and on the beginning side, she was doing the same thing. I mean, it's like she wanted everything to be perfect. And I'm really grateful that she did that, because I got to see her perfectionism, and I got to see how her perfectionism halted her. So as her mom, I was telling her, I was preaching to her, not everything has to be perfect, like that. It's not that it's good enough, it's that, did you get your heart into it? Did you do your best here? Maybe it's not perfect for what you're going to want in 2 years from now or 2 months from now, but did you do your ultimate best right now? And she would say, yes. And I mean, she always does great work, but I would look at different pictures, but if she took pictures of me, there would be these pictures that I would just be like, all right, now I want those perfect, right? Like, I want those perfect. Or we'd have disputes on what she thought was perfect and what I thought was perfect. So we would like go back and forth, and here I'm looking for these. I need like pictures for my website. I need pictures for this. I need pictures for that. And we're spending all this time being perfectionists on these pictures, and I'm being a perfectionist on the writing. And I remember like the very first website that I launched, it took me, oh my gosh, it took me like probably 4 months just to get the content written for like 3 of the main pages, which would be like my landing page, my about page, and my service page. And they weren't that long, And it took me like 4 months to get this stuff written because everything in my mind had to be just perfect, just perfect. So, what does that really have to do with anything, right? It has everything to do with everything, because perfectionism is fear of failure. It is this tone that we set out there, and when we get caught up in that perfectionism, here's what happens to us perfectionists. We don't go anywhere. As a perfectionist, a recovering perfectionist, I have now seen over the course of 10 years that the more I let go of that need to control, because that's what perfectionism is. Perfectionism is a need to control. And it is that need to control that is also wrapped up in the fear of failure. So the belief is, if it's not perfect, I'm going to fail. And if I fail, then I'm not going to succeed. And that's just bad. That shows that I'm not good enough. I'm not this, I'm not that, blah, 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 blah. So after all my perfectionist stuff, notice I did say I'm a perfectionist in recovery, right? I'm now at a point where I just don't care anymore to be a perfectionist. So I write from my heart. I write as quickly as however it flows. Maybe it flows out really quick. Maybe it doesn't flow out really quick. I don't really worry about the pictures anymore, the editing. Half the time I don't edit. I just kind of get it out there, and I know that just getting it out there, and I can always go back and make changes. I can always go back and change things, but getting it out there and letting that flow is more important than trying to have everything perfect. And letting it flow is actually going to bring me closer to success, even if I'm scared of the failure in the process. So here's where the failure right now is. Like this is what at least what society would have me believing, right? Listening to the masses is not a wonderful thing to do. They'll change your mind on everything, but there'll be that pot of crabs pulling you down. But like over the last 2 weeks, big time, I've had a lot of editing comments come to me. And I kind of think it's just funny. I mean, like, there were random comments from people emailing me. I had one person tell me that they couldn't take me serious because I had a misspelt word on whatever page it was. I don't know. I had a couple other people say there's some grammatical errors here. You really need to look at that. I had some other people note that, I had a typo on some images. I had some typos here. I had some typos there. All this different stuff. And each one of them kind of went, ugh. And my perfectionist instantly grabbed a hold of it and wanted to run with it and go and control the scenario. Wanted to do two things. Wanted to go and fix it. And then the second one wanted to write back and give an I'm sorry excuse, apology for being a fuck up, for not having it perfect. Because I thought, that was like my instant response was, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I made a mistake. Because it made me feel like I was a failure for a split second. And then I realized, then I looked, and I was like, the majority of the people messaging me were, number one, either it comes down to like, who you can listen to, Well, the leaders that I follow, the coaches that I use for myself and stuff, basically are not perfectionists. They are perfectionists, but they've learned how to let go of it in certain departments, and they just go. There's no hold back. They just go. And they fail forward, and that failing forward gets them closer to success. And it's not about having all your words spelt right. It's not about having the grammar perfect. It's not about showing up looking perfect every time. It's not about necessarily having everything lined up before you even get going. If you wait for everything to be lined up before you get going, you get nowhere in a hurry, okay? Because those people that are always waiting for things to be perfect go nowhere. So, my whole new perspective on life over the last 7 years, from the 6-7 years, really, and the last 2 to 3 years, big time, I've just kind of gone, it's just this: go forward, move forward, jump. Because if you don't jump in certain situations, much like the text message that I got last night, the person's decided to jump. We'll see if they really jump, but so far, deciding to jump, deciding to make those changes, deciding to change the course of their life, to actually be in control of their life by making these changes and figure out how to pick up the pieces as they go. If you try to figure out where all your pieces are going to fall and how failure could possibly come get you, you're never going to move forward to the success that you want. Where the tea bag comes in is that the fact is we're all like tea bags. We don't know how strong we're going to be until we get into some hot water, okay? So you got to get into that hot water. You've got to. And you got to move forward and stop fearing the failure. I do recommend, this book just went flying through my mind, Failing Forward. It was written back in the early 2000s, I think, maybe 1999, 2000, 2003, something like that. Failing Forward. I don't know who the author is up at this hour. But that book is a fantastic book about the power and the purpose of failure. And it talks just on this stuff right here, because we really, really look at failure as though it is a negative. But what failure is it's moving us forward. It's moving us forward. I do have a quote. Let me see if I can. Henry Ward Beecher wrote, "I don't like these cold, precise, perfect people who, in order not to speak wrong, never speak at all, and in order not to do wrong, never do anything. The pursuit of excellence is gratifying and healthy. The pursuit of perfection is frustrating, unproductive, and a terrible waste of time." And I have another quote here. Here we go. "Discouragement and failure are two of the surest stepping stones to success." John Maxwell. Oh, I should have known that. Thank you. Thank you, Edison. I love John Maxwell. John Maxwell is a fantastic author. I love all of his books. So yeah, that was for the Failing Forward book, John Maxwell. So yeah, so there you have Conscious Coffee this morning, all about Babe Ruth and tea bags. Be more like Babe Ruth. Realize that we're all like tea bags, but we got to get into the hot water. Don't be a perfectionist on things. Get your ass out there and get moving. You'll get better as you go. And here's the whole thing. Who are you succeeding for? Are you succeeding for you, or are you succeeding for your neighbors, your friends, your colleagues, somebody else? Are you going to let society dictate to you what your success should look like? Or are you just going to go and succeed the way you need to succeed? Because success is different for each and every one of us, and that's the whole thing. It's just the point of having those goals, having those dreams, those desires, those wants for a future, and being willing to take the steps toward them, and realize that we're not always going to have the perfect landing. And in truth, it is not even about reaching the goal often. And I mean, yeah, here you go. One of the most well-known quotes, right? It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And that's true. Every failure normally leads us to these beautiful spaces in our life. that we never would have ventured if we had just gotten stuck in trying to get everything so perfect and never failing. So relish your failure. Relish the failure. Really enjoy it. Really soak it in, absorb it, learn from it, embrace it for what it is. There's lessons in there. There's beauty in there. There's great movement in there. There's a finding of self in there. And there's a deeper connection to God in every failure. There's greater surrender, greater trust, and without failure, you're not going to succeed. So you don't just wake up and succeed. That doesn't happen. That does not happen. You've got to fail, and you're always moving forward. Always, always, always moving forward. We can't go backward. We only can go forward. We can get stuck in what feels like what we're in, but even in those moments, we're still moving forward. It does not matter what is going on. The motion of life is forward, and we do this by consistently falling a little bit and getting back up, and falling and getting back up, and falling and getting back up. So don't be afraid of falling down. Don't be afraid of stubbing your toe. Don't be afraid of looking like a fool. Don't be afraid of getting it wrong according to society. Don't be afraid of being you, because you're fantastic. You deserve it, and you can do it. And remember, you're a tea bag. Just get in some hot water. Okay, guys. I think that's about it for this morning. I think that's about it. So, as always, click the little share button if anything in here touched you in any way. Make sure that you share it. Facebook loves shared videos, so please share. And oh, hey, good morning, Angie. Thank you. So share, and thank you for the love. Thank you for the love. I love you guys, and I will catch you tomorrow morning around 6 a.m. ish as well. Okay, bye.